Hello, welcome to a special episode of Life in Business with me, Libby Langley, your host. And today I'm talking about what worked and what didn't. I'm doing a thorough review of my 2023 and there will be some lessons in there for you and there's plenty of lessons in there for me too. So that's what I'm talking about today. I do a review at the end of every year in my business. Sometimes it's around the birth date of my business, the anniversary of my start of business, which is the 1st of December. And then sometimes it's at the very end of the year. And actually 2023, I've done both. So we've got two reviews this year. I think the reason that reviews are so important, it's for twofold really. One is the kind of lessons learned, what worked, what didn't, what would I do differently, what can I change about that? And the other one is, oh my God, let me celebrate myself because I am absolutely freaking awesome and I've done some amazing things. So it's twofold. So it's really important for you to reflect on your own time in business, your own year in business too. So I've got some absolute doozies for you today. It's been quite a year, I have to say. I don't know about you, but 2023 seems to have just absolutely flown by. It's been, I don't know, how is it the end of 2023 when the start of 2023 was only like 2 months ago, maybe 3? So it's very, it's just absolutely flown by this year. And I can think of lots of things that I've done and also, kind of have done nothing. So it's kind of, it's been a funny old year really. But let me tell you about my reflections then, and I hope that you get lots of lessons from this. I absolutely know that you will. So my word of the year for 2023, I choose a word every year, and my one for 2023 was ease. And if I remember rightly, it was ease with a side dose of planning. So the planning, not so much. that didn't work. I don't know. Because of my ADHD, planning is I find it quite difficult. And so I can plan like my day meticulously and my week, but actually planning an entire year, I find I've certainly this year I've found quite difficult. And last year, well, we had a house move and, so that kind of throws different spanners in the work, right? So the planning didn't go according to plan, but the ease, there were certain elements absolutely of ease that have been brought in throughout the year, but I don't think this has been an easy year. So it depends what you mean by ease. Well, it was my word. So what did I mean by ease? Ease, kind of the ease and grace and flow of running a business, that's come about in the latter part of the year, I think. I've tried to do that certainly for the entire year, but it's taken me the whole year to really kind of find out like who I am. And I know this is ridiculous because, I'm not far off blooming 50 and I've been in business for 12 years, but still these things keep kind of cropping up. Actually, the stuff that I'm going to go through with you today, it all makes sense. But everything I've done has been with an element of making things easier, and that's really quite important. So the way I work with my clients is always about adding ease into their businesses. My offers continue to simplify and refine. I'm doing less and less different stuff and focusing on doing more of the stuff that works. So in that regard, yes, ease, absolutely. So, all right, let's dive into the detail here. Ooh, so things that didn't work. I'm going to get the negatives out of the way first. The things that didn't work are, didn't trust my gut on a few occasions. And I know that that's what I tell you to do and to go with your gut and to trust your intuition and all of that. But sometimes it's kind of hard, right? sometimes we do things or don't do things that we know we kind of should. So I guess I've got one particular example with that to do with this podcast, actually. So when I launched the podcast in December 2022, I used a podcast agency, kind of boutique agency, somebody I'd met on Instagram. Seemed fine, great, got it all launched. I invested, a couple of grand in that, I think. Got it all launched, got support with the tech, with setting it all up, because I didn't know anything, right? I didn't know anything about podcasting. Never even particularly listened to that many. So it was a virgin world for me completely. So I got support, which I was very happy with, to invest in all of that. Got it all out, knew it was good, and was loving doing it. But then kind of things weren't feeling right. So once the buzz of the initial launch had worn off, then there were a few niggles. I wasn't able to record them as suited my schedule. I was very much kind of limited on what I was allowed to do and when. And also there were a few support issues in the service that were unsatisfactory. And instead of, it kind of made me feel guilty almost. And this is something that I've been working on, but I kind of felt a sense of guilt that I wasn't being the best client I could be, which is ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. So I didn't trust that feeling, and I didn't trust the feeling in my gut that something wasn't right. And this culminated in me being fired as a client because I offered some constructive feedback. I've actually, I recorded a podcast episode about it. So I'll put a link in the show notes, but if you listen to the episode that, how to respond to negative feedback, then yeah, there's a lesson in there. So anyway, I got fired as a client. So that was fun times. And it actually was the best thing that could have happened, because it led me to find my current producers, Podshop Online, who are superb, really strategic. We work extremely well as a partnership. So it's great. It's the best thing that could have happened. It wasn't at the time. A little bit of a curveball there. So I didn't trust my gut. I also didn't do my due diligence this year, which led to a really unpleasant situation. So 2023, I've been going through a lot of burnout in the first half of the year, really culminating in my autism diagnosis and me kind of understanding a bit more what was going on with me. And I met someone at an event who I really liked, really great guy, seemed to be, and he was going to manage my social media, because I thought, if I can take one thing off my plate. But it was horrendous, absolutely horrendous experience, and no work was done, and it resulted in me going to the small claims court, and it was just such a horrible experience at quite a challenging time. It was around the time I was getting my autism diagnosis, and it was just awful experience. So what I learned from that was, meeting someone at an event is great, amazing. We meet amazing people at events, but don't immediately jump into working with them. At least, check out their social media, or see if you can find someone who's already worked with them, see if you're in the same communities, this kind of stuff. Can work, absolutely. You meet someone, you get on like a house on fire, and that's it. But if you meet them kind of out of context, then, you're just two people who happen to be at the same thing, then yeah, I don't know. Always best to kind of just find out what a third party person thinks. But I was really scarred by that. It was a horrible experience that I wouldn't want anyone to go through. And also I learnt more. I do not need to know anything else, right? I do not need to know anything else about business. I can learn about bits of tech as they come out, but I do not need to know anything else about running a business. I've been running my own for 12 years. I have qualifications. I have an MBA, for goodness sake. I've done finance exams for that. I can talk to you about the numbers through my own experience and with confidence with my qualification. I know about social media. I know about strategy. Again, my MBA dissertation was on social media marketing strategy and corporate communication. I know all this stuff. I've spent, I don't know how much, £100,000 plus on my own professional development since I started my business. Learning is not the thing that I need to do, okay? I do not need to do any more learning, but I did. So I worked with 2 coaches this year, 2023. The first one, she kicked my butt. She kicked my butt, but I was not in the right place in my business, I suppose, to have my butt kicked almost. And our energy levels are very different. I've talked about this actually in previous podcast episodes, and my energy, particularly with the burnout, was really low, and her energy is super high. So I find it very difficult to kind of maintain the stuff that she told me to do. So it's not a criticism of her, because she's fabulous. We're still in each other's worlds and all of this. So, you know, it was wrong place, right? Wrong place, wrong time with that one. But the second one was she was going to teach me some stuff. And it turned out that I kind of knew all this stuff anyway. Of course I did, because I've got 12 years experience and invested over £100,000 in myself and blah, 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 blah. And it just didn't work from the start. I mean, I remember saying to a group of business people, entrepreneurs that I know, I'm not sure about this. This whole sign-up process is really weird. And they said, don't do it. And I'm like, oh, but I just need some support with whatever. And it was a mistake. And it was only a couple of grand, which is a lot of money, but you know, it's okay. It wasn't £20,000 or anything. So I didn't really get anything out of that experience, other than, again, to trust your gut and to work out why it is that you want to invest with someone. And for me, it's because I was burnt out and I needed time off and I needed to regroup, not because I needed to learn more about anything. So, and I guess that's in a similar vein to when I was diagnosed as autistic. I didn't know what to do with that. So what I did with it is what I do with most things, and I went all in. It's like, oh, right, okay, here's a label, here's a badge. I'm going all in with this. And I talked about it, which is, you know, absolutely happy to talk about it, you know, happy to answer any questions and to share any guidance and support of my own experience that I can. But I'm like, oh, right, this is me, this defines me. And that's just not true. It was extremely useful for me getting the diagnosis. It's helped me understand myself better. It's helped me understand clients and other people in the business world. I know that there are lots, countless of us who are diagnosed, undiagnosed, but suspect ADHD, autism, and it's been a really helpful process. But what I didn't need to do was go to a conference all about autism and go on a course about being autistic. You know, I didn't need to be the best autistic person out there, right? I didn't need to do any of that, but I suppose that was part of my coping mechanism. But it was through that course that another 500 quid or something invested in that. It was through that I learned about the different stages of burnout and was able to identify that is exactly what I had been going through. So, you know, I'm kind of grateful for that. But yeah, I didn't need to go all in, and I didn't need to think about rebranding myself, and I didn't need to put it on all my social media channels. It's gone now from the bios. But yeah, I was kind of leading with it, and it's like, it doesn't define me. I'm brilliant with or without that. That's just part of me. It's fine, you know? So that was quite an interesting learning curve. And so now what did work? There's loads of stuff that has worked, okay? There's been some really terrible things, but yeah, let's talk about what did work. Oh, actually, just let me say that after that autism diagnosis and kind of, you know, realising I'd been in burnout for quite a long time, what I did was I sort of broke, and I took pretty much a month off, and I changed the way I work with clients, and I just properly stepped back, and I earned hardly anything in the month of August. I mean, literally hardly anything. And that was really difficult, but it was a conscious decision to do that because I needed to do that for my physical and I guess mental health. So it was a good experience. But and if you do these things as conscious decisions, then it's all fine. And then I was able to come back in September 23 with, oh my goodness, like a belly full of fire like I've not had probably for years, and focus and direction. And I just feel like, you know, Libby's back, which is kind of a nice feeling. You may not have realised that she's been gone, right? But I know, I can tell. So it's great. So here I am. So now what did work? Okay. Getting proper team support. I've always had coaches. I've always invested in mentors. I've had a team before, I've had staff, But now 2023, I've actually kind of thought consciously about the support that I need in my team. So as well as the absolutely brilliant podcast team that I work with, Podshop Online, they're superb. I also now have a VA, which is quite exciting, Lisa, and she helps me with things that I just am never going to get done. She helps me with TikTok, which I ain't never going to do. Sorry if you follow me on TikTok and you're a big fan, but it's just not a platform I enjoy, but I know that it can be really useful for business, and so I have someone else doing it. She helps me with stuff to do with podcast guesting, which is a focus of mine for 2024. I want to guest on lots of podcasts and speak of lots of events, so she helps with some sort of coordination around that. She helps with repurposing my content, so taking my podcast, putting it on YouTube, and creating a blog. Lots of stuff that it's been on my list for years, but I've not got around to doing it, because one person can only do so much. So I have proper support there, which is absolutely fantastic. And just to say actually that Lisa is funded by the government, because I have got funding through Access to Work. And Access to Work is a government scheme for people who need support with disabilities, and autism is a disability, which I'm quite uncomfortable with, but it is. So there's lots of funding available, so I've accessed that, and I'm extremely grateful for that, because it does make it easier for me to do my job, which is the whole point of it. And also I have EFT sessions. I've been having them for a couple of years now with Jackie Akery, and I've also managed to get that's also funded through Access to Work, because it's kind of coping strategies with life. So that's superb. So I feel very fortunate to be able to access that. So anybody can access this, which is absolutely incredible. And I also have someone doing Pinterest for me, which is quite exciting. I haven't delved into the world of Pinterest since, oh crikey, I used to run workshops on it about 8 to 10 years ago. But Emma James, she set up her business, social media management, and we knew each other locally, and asked if I would be kind of a test case for her. And so I am, and she's working on my Pinterest, and it's great, and really impressed with the things that we're doing. So that's been an interesting kind of voyage of discovery this year, I think, getting back into that. And what else? So that's my team support. Growing my podcast. I love this podcast, despite the kind of management blips earlier in the year. I love it. I find it really cathartic, being able to talk to you. I make myself laugh because, I'm quite funny. But on a professional level, it's brought me clients. It's raised my profile and it's brought me clients, and they're my two objectives for it. So I've been invited on other people's podcasts. I've had people come and work with me. It's quite rare for someone to talk to me about working with me, or indeed to start working with me, who hasn't listened to at least some of my podcast episodes, which is great, which is the point of doing it. But I love being able to help people and support people for free as well. That's kind of quite important for me. But my two objectives are raise my profile and get more clients, right? And I also published a book in 2023, which I still can't quite believe that Life in Business, the book, is available on Amazon in paperback and in Kindle, and I just still can't quite believe that I'm a published author. And it was a bestseller at the time, and it's led to some fantastic opportunities that I've spoken at events about my book. I've had a franchise organisation who bought a copy for every single one of their franchisees, and I signed them all, personalised, signed them all, which is just, it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to do. Do you know what? I'm really proud of the book, but I guess one of the best things about it is that I know that it's changed people's lives as well. And I know that it's changed the way people work and think and view their businesses. And to me, that's pretty epic, being able to say that you kind of instigated that. Again, I worked with a book coach on getting that done. Another couple of grand, can't remember. That was really worth doing, because it made me do it, right? We set a deadline. It made me stick to the deadline. And also it meant that it happened on Amazon, because that's a bit technically complicated, and honestly I couldn't be bothered to learn that, so I paid someone else to do it who knows how to do it. So thank you to Claire McCabe for that. What else has been good? Well, I've invested in the right mentors. So I talked about quite a few things that I've invested this year that haven't been gone quite according to plan. Nothing is ever a waste of money. I'll just say that as a caveat. Nothing is ever a waste of money, because you learn from the experience, right? It might be one sentence that they said that sticks with you. It might be, this is absolutely how I'm not going to run my business. It might be, I don't need to learn anything else. I know enough. I just need to go out there and do it. All of these things are valid experiences. So I don't think any investment is ever a waste of time or money. It can be, as long as you learn from that and you focus how you need to focus for the future, then that's fine. There's never any shame. There's never any blame. There's never anything like that. So investing in the right mentors. I don't think you can be successful in business without support. I will say that. Absolutely, we cannot, no person is an island, right? And I've recently, in the last 3-4 months, have invested in 2 new mentors. One is a pay monthly community that I'm in. I pay £50 a month to be part of this community. And it's full of other entrepreneurs, just kind of being entrepreneurs together. And it's really nice, safe, honest space. And fun, a hell of a lot of fun. And the reason I still don't really have a voice is because at the time of recording last Friday, so this is Tuesday, I'm recording this. Last Friday, this community, we had a big Christmas night out, and as you can tell, I had a great time, and I still don't have my voice back. So to me, that's worth a lot, being in the right space with the right people. Yeah, because you've got to find your people. You've got to find the most dynamic, or the most heart-centered, or the most go-getty, or the most gentle. Whatever your community is, you've got to find the right people, and I found some amazing people there. And the other one is, I've joined a business-focused mastermind, because the person who runs that mastermind will not let me get away with not doing the stuff I've said that I'm going to do. And I don't need any of the learning that's available in that mastermind. As I've said, I know enough. And also, it's incredibly similar to what I support my clients with and what I have been teaching for years. So you could say, if you looked at it one way, you'd say there's a conflict of interest, but there isn't, because the person who runs this mastermind is slightly different to me, a step forward than me in terms of business income. And for me, that's what I need. That's what I need. I need someone to just pull me up by the bootstraps and say, come on, get your shit together, do this, and so I'll do it. So that's been really worth it. And the tune of those, one's £50 a month and the other was a couple of grand to invest in. So well worth it. I've been to some great events this year. I've seen Denise Duffield-Thomas twice speak in the UK this year. I went to Expert Empires in February in London. Not a fan of the event as a whole, but she was great. And we had a random evening in the bar, eating crisps and drinking sparkling wine, which just about half a dozen of us, which was just such a fantastic, magical experience to get to spend that much time unscripted, undiarised with somebody that you really admire in the business world. That was an incredible experience. And I went to Denise's event in Bristol in October 23, which was superb. Interestingly, Denise opened the events by saying nothing that I'm going to tell you is new, and it wasn't. But sometimes you just need to hear it again, Sometimes it sinks in differently, and sometimes you're sitting next to someone different who says something different to you that makes you feel, aha. So it was superb, fantastic event, met some incredible people, and she had a guest speaker, Susie Ashworth, who I'm not like a mega fan of. She's a bit woo for me, but her session was phenomenal. The energy that woman has is just phenomenal, and she got us up on stage dancing, and I'm actually going to her event in January 24. So this event, Denise's event, came at the right time for me, or kind of, my post-burnout, post-time off, right? Oh my God, I've got fire in my belly. I'm hitting the world. Here I am. Don't mess with me. I'm on a mission. And just the kind of energy and people in that room have changed my life, I would say. and also my business. So my business is changing, and my business is simplifying even more. So that my focus for 2024 will be my podcast, here I am, my book, you can get it on Amazon, and one other service. So I will be, you're going to hear absolutely tons about this if you haven't already heard about it, because I'll be a bit out of sync with my recordings. But everything's changing, and it's going to be those three things for me, supported by speaking at lots of events. So if you have an event that you want me to speak at, or a guest expert session in a membership or community you're in, let me know, I will say yes. And also guesting on podcasts, and that's so simple for me. And my word of the year for 2024 is bold, and to me that means aiming higher, being braver, shining brighter, having more courage, believing in myself, sharing my knowledge, thinking clearly, making conscious decisions, and helping more people. And I cannot wait. I am ready. It feels like I've absolutely reborn into my business with all the skills and knowledge that I need to change your life, to change your business, to change your world, to change your life. And I'm ready to do it. And I really hope that you continue on the journey with me, and that I can support you, and that we end up working together. That would be very cool indeed. So thanks for joining me on my review today. Hopefully my voice will recover, sometime, but having a good time is a good thing to do. I'd love to know what's happened to you this year and what you've kind of learned. So message me on LinkedIn, I'm Libby Langley, or Instagram at Libby Langley. You can find me all over the internet as Libby Langley. I'd love to hear from you. And here's to a happy, healthy, successful, and totally kick-ass 2024.